It is Cowboys versus Niners on the field and off the field here at Chat Sports. We're in a sub-battle against the Niners this month, and they have a narrow lead over us so far. Let's get that changed. Let's make sure the Niners have nothing to look forward to on or off the field. Hit that sub button right now, and make sure you tune in for Sunday Night Football. The Dallas Cowboys taking on the San Francisco 49ers. We will be live plenty early for this particular game. Hit that sub button and make sure you don't miss out. The Cowboys on the road against the Niners, the boogeyman for this Cowboys team. It's October. It makes sense to do some Halloween-ish references there. The Cowboys have had their season end 2 years in a row against the 49ers. And yes, this is just the next game, but no win would give, I think, us as fans and probably that organization the confidence to say, hey, we can beat anyone in the NFC. We can make that coveted run than by winning on Sunday night on the road in San Francisco. Some notes on the Cowboys injury report here. Again, we'll make note, film this on Thursday. Shouldn't change, barring, knock on wood, bad injury news on Friday. Tyron Smith, Zack Martin were full participants Thursday. There's a very real chance they're going to be able to play. For the first time since 2021, the starting offensive line might be together. That'd be awesome. CeeDee Lamb, he should be just fine. Not too worried about that one. Malik Hooker, Damone Clark out there with their shoulder injuries. Limited so far, practice, should be fine. Micah Parsons limited too, but he'll play. Seems unlikely. Peyton Hendershot will go. Rico Dowdle should be just fine as well. He was a full participant on Thursday, so again, trending in the correct direction from that perspective. The Niners, meanwhile, do have some players banged up right now. Travarius Ward has a heel injury. That one has to be monitored. Same with Dre Greenlaw. Those two players are, really good on, that's a Cowboys legend right there. And Travarius Ward, y'all forget that, don't you? Yeah, he was a Cowboy. Big miss there by Dallas to trade him away. Anyway, those two guys, if they can't go, which I think they will, but we'll monitor. John Feliciano, concussion, he's a backup offensive lineman. Elijah Mitchell, the backup running back. Deebo Samuel should play. I would say even will play, but he is a little bit banged up, kind of like Micah Parsons is right now. All right, top 5 matchups to watch. We're going to cheat here for our first one. I'm going to group the defensive lines together against the offensive lines. And both of those units have, I think, a strength versus weaknesses matchup here. The Dallas defensive line is awesome. This defense is one of the best, if not the best, in the entire NFL. They're number 1 in points per game. Micah Parsons, Dorrance Armstrong, Tank Lawrence. Osa's been playing super well as of late. Dante Fowler. It is a great front four for the Dallas Cowboys. The Niners offense, that right side of the line, Spencer Burford, Colton McKivitz, it's beatable. The Niners defense, meanwhile, it's Nick Bosa, it's Eric Armstead, Javon Hargrave, and they can rotate guys like Drake Jackson, Cleveland Ferrell in there. It's a good front too. So you've got two awesome defenses. It's the number 1 defense and the number 3 defense against each other. This will probably be a lower scoring game. So what is your confidence level in the Cowboys beating the 49ers? Scale it from 1 to 10. 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end. It's the pinned comment of today's video, so that ad comes here on YouTube. Take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. Matchup number 2, the wide receivers, most likely CeeDee Lamb against Deommodore Lenoir, who is kind of the main nickel corner for San Francisco. That is a beatable matchup. The Niners defense, much like the Cowboys defense, doesn't have that many flaws. One of them is Lenoir. That is the player they should target. Now, my guess is when Lamb's in the slot, it'll be bracket coverage, right? Lenoir will get help from a safety or a linebacker and try to take him away. That's what they did last year in the playoffs with some really good success. That interception that Dak threw to Lamb. Bracket coverage kind of caught him off guard. Got to be ready for it this time around because they'll do it again to Lamb and try to make other receivers beat them. Matchup number 3. How about your linebackers? Damone Clark, Leighton Vander Esch, plus your safeties mixed in there too, your box players, against Christian McCaffrey. His use rate is actually super high, which I actually am a bit worried about longer term this year for him, but he's been awesome. Any fantasy owner can tell you that too. 80 carries, already at 459 yards, 18 catches, 7 total scores. McCaffrey is probably the best back in football right now. He's got a good offensive line. The scheme is perfect for him. The Niners will lean heavily on him. You have to limit him. You can't stop him fully, but you do need to limit him. All right, next up is Jaron Kearse against George Kittle. The Cowboys didn't have all the success last year against the 49ers on defense. They were better, but the Niners' general offensive attack, middle of the field, that is where they love throwing the football. Well, guess where they're weak at, the Cowboys' defense? The middle of the field. They rank number 1 in defensive DVOA, data basically adjusted for opponent. Passes to the left and to the right. Over the middle, probably heavily influenced by that long Garrett Wilson TD. They're number 27. That's where you can beat them. Beat those linebackers a little bit. So I would not be shocked if it was a heavy Kittle game. I need Jaron Kearse to be the leader of this defense. Have himself a big, big game. More matchups, players to watch to come. But speaking of players, today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. It is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. My non-Cowboys 3-player pick this week. Lamar Jackson, more than 210.5 passing yards. It's the Steelers, solid defense, but Lamar's been awesome this year. Jalen Waddle, more than 59.5. That could be done on one play against the lowly Giants, which had better happen early because that could be a blowout again for them. And Justin Jefferson, 1 touchdown. It's more than 0.5, so 1. Pass, rush, or receiving against the Chiefs. They will have to throw it to beat Mahomes. So I like those picks. The power play, by the way, 5x. Got to hit all 3. You can do the flex play. 1.25x if you get 2 of them. 2.25 if you get 3 of them. The special deal for you guys from Prize Picks is to go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. The link will be in the comments and in the description. Again, that's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Matchup number 5. It is the third down defense against Brock Purdy, the Niners quarterback, who is probably still getting a little bit more disrespect than he should. The last 2 times this Cowboys team has played San Francisco, they've been awesome on third downs. They were 6 of 13 in 2021 and 50% in 2022. That was Jimmy Garoppolo, and that was Purdy. 48.1% on third downs in the playoffs. You are not going to lose that many games doing that. Dallas was a little bit behind them in both of those categories. And this year, you happen to have 2 of the very best third down quarterbacks against each other. Brock Purdy's number 1 in third down EPA per play. Shanahan's teams have always been good at this area. I think it's a scheme thing. 0.505 per play, which is a half point per play every third down. That's insane. Baker's actually second. Dak is third. 0.403. Kind of a bit of a drop-off there from Baker and Purdy to Dak, and also to Mahomes at number 4. You win the third down matchups, you'll be in much better shape. So predict the score for me of the Cowboys against the 49ers. We got winning too. Include that in there because it's a tougher game. Get your score predictions in the comments section. I will make mine at the end of today's video. All right, top players to watch. Number 5, it is Tony Pollard. And maybe last year's game goes differently if Tony Pollard does not break his leg and the Cowboys are down to 1 impactful piece on offense who's a playmaker. Schultz is reliable, but he's not a playmaker, or at least wasn't. Gallup was not healthy. Zeke was kind of cooked, and they were able to take away Lamb more frequently. They gave Pollard a light workload last week. He only had, I think it was like 14 touches, something like that. It was, game's out of hand. Let's get him fresh for this upcoming game. He's not that far behind in total touches against Christian McCaffrey and has certainly been a highly impactful piece as well. The Cowboys need a big game from Pollard. You're playing the Niners. You need a big game from everyone. Number 4, Stephon Gilmore, the cornerback for the Cowboys. Obviously no Trayvon Diggs. Deron Bland's been balling. The area I think you can beat Gilmore, and teams haven't been able to do it yet, is on some of those drag routes. Gilmore's burst is not what it once was. You run those, whether it's with Ayuk or even Debo, you run those quick drags, you can get a little bit of separation in there. Now, if you're playing some middle zone, you'll be okay. But if you can run those drag routes, Gilmore tends to be a little bit more behind than I think he was back in his prime. He's been great this year, though. Don't get me wrong. He's been targeted 19 times, allowed 9 catches, 116 yards. There was the big touchdown catch he allowed. 1 interception, 4 pass breakups. So keep an eye on Niners trying to do some short stuff against Gilmore. And if that does make some catches as a result, your DBs behind him must tackle. So will the Cowboys defense get a turnover against one of the less turnover-frequent teams in the NFL in San Francisco? Y for yes, N for no. Next player to watch, Osa Odighizuwa. I think the Niners' offensive line is beatable on the right side. In particular, not just Colton McKivitz, where I think Tank could have a nice day, and you can probably get some rushes there from Micah Parsons, but also against Spencer Burford. And remember, you have Trent Williams on the other side. He's really good. So Burford's a guard. I think Osa can beat him. I think Burford's better right now in run blocking than pass protection. So Osa Odighizuwa, who started the year hot, has played hard all year long. I think this would be a great week to get a sack. And if you get a sack, by the way, Brock Purdy's fumbled the ball 4 times this season. Only lost 1, which means he's due. If you get some pressure, good things will happen. Number 2 player to watch, Dak Prescott. Not just the quarterback's fault, but the reality is the last 2 times that Dak's played against the 49ers, he has not played well. And there are other factors at play too, flags, stuff we talked about, right? But people want to say, Dak's bad in the playoffs. He's actually not. He's just been bad against the 49ers. He's actually been awesome in the other 4 playoff games. But this Niners team, the way they handle their zone coverages, the way they are able to flood zones and get pressure with 4 and do some fun looks and be just this elite defense that they've been for 2 years in a row, makes it really hard on the quarterback and the offenses that they play. We've seen that time and time again. But they need Dak to be better. Take care of the football. The Niners want to dare you to just kind of march your way down the field. That's what Dallas has done all year long. I'm curious how it all plays out. Number 1, it's not a player, it's Mike McCarthy. This is the type of game that Mike McCarthy, decided to take control of the play calling for. This is the type of game the Dallas Cowboys need to win under Big Mike. Kellen Moore had his pros and cons. Fine to move on. You need Mike to be good in this game. McCarthy does not fare well. If they come out flat like they did 2 years ago against the 49ers, that's an indictment on your head coach. You're not going to fire him right now. But this is a big game for Mike McCarthy. It is. This team knows it's a playoff atmosphere style game. So they have to step up to the challenge, and the coaching staff, led by McCarthy, has to have them prepared and locked in and good to go. Unfortunately, my score prediction is not what you guys want. The Cowboys can absolutely win this football game. Absolutely. I have to see it. It's been 2 years. This is not me hating on the Cowboys. It's me saying the Niners are a better football team right now. There's only a few games at most that will be the case for Dallas. They have to punch above their weight class, slightly above their weight class this week. So prove me wrong. And Mike, if you want to put this in the locker room to motivate players, please do so. We can cut that part out for you, give you a special clip. Prove me wrong. Prove that you are a legitimate championship contender. Take down a team you haven't done in a while. I'll be cheering my ass off for you, but I need to see you do it. Before we go, we do have a shout out to the most comments winner from our earlier Niners-Cowboys preview, Omar. Did a lot. I lost count somewhere in the hundreds. So thank you, Omar, for all of those comments that typed in F. Chase.